Hi, I'm Fiona Nagle, and welcome to Creative Conversations, Artist to Artist. I'm a retired ballerina, and I grew up immersed in theater, music, painting, and of course, dancing. In each episode, I sit down one-on-one with another artist to do a deeper dive into the creative mind, heart, and soul. In particular, I focus on those talented people within the Culver City region of Los Angeles, which is home to a rich diversity of artists and creatives. So please, come join me as we step into the artist zone. Even if you missed the 2022 Grammy Awards on April 3rd, you couldn't help but hear that something remarkable happened on the stage that night. John Legend performed a new song in honor of Ukraine, which was introduced by President Volodymyr Zelensky in a deeply moving and powerful video message. The song, entitled Free, is a blend of American gospel and Ukrainian culture, and was performed by John, a choir, and 3 Ukrainians, a musician, a singer, and a poet. The musician was Siuzanna Iglidan, a resident of Culver City in western Los Angeles until the pandemic. Her instrument was the bandura, the beloved national instrument of Ukraine, and a traditional symbol of rebellion and freedom. The bandura has deep meaning for Ukrainians at this time, and it was no accident that Siuzanna ended up on the stage that night. I sat down with her to talk about her Grammy experience, the bandura, her life, and art in general. Hi, Siuzanna. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Hi, Fiona. I'm very happy to be tonight with you.
So, of course, the first question has to be, how did you become a featured performer with the legendary John Legend on the Grammys of all places?
I still don't know how it's happened, but I know one thing. When the right time comes, things happen. So during this last 2 years, it was very unstable, in quarantine and COVID. And I was trying to make some of my dreams come true, recording my albums and recording my music videos. I was thinking that I will never be back to a big stage, I was thinking that will never end. And then good news that COVID is over. And then one night, one lady called me and say, I'm a producer from Grammys. That's gonna happen in 10 days. I say, oh, it's nice talking to you. Yeah, how can I help you? Yes, we want you to be our special performer. And I could not believe myself. And I was wondering how they found me and who recommended me and how it's possible that it was COVID, no performances, and then the first big performance and I go straight to the Grammys stage. Some people say my dream came true. No. I will be honest with you. I never could even dream about. Yeah, I've been dreaming about Metropolitan Opera, La Scala, one day in my resume, singing big mezzo roles. But with bandura, which is very, very rare Ukrainian instrument that I will be taking a spotlight with bandura, I could never imagine. That was not even in my dreams.
And what was your part in creating the new song? And of course, how did your bandura become incorporated in that?
A night before that we met finally in Las Vegas, I could record bandura in studio and I sent them how it will be sound piano and bandura. So I received response, oh wow, it sounds beautiful, we like it. Well, I've been a composer since a little me. I'm 10 years old when I started writing my music. So it was not hard. I just made a few versions, more bandura, less bandura, medium bandura. And finally, the final agreement we made on the stage rehearsal a day before the Grammys. We were rehearsing on stage. I finally could hear the choir. I could hear Ukrainian singer and a poet, which was a surprise for me. I didn't know there was a part just, like poetry in between on the middle of the song. So when I heard everyone together, I knew exactly how much of bandura I need to play. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how many people know that the bandura is actually the national instrument of Ukraine and quite beloved and has a lot of deep meaning for people. So what does the bandura mean for you, and how did you get your start in becoming a bandurist?
Bandura, I was introduced to bandura when I was at age of 12. And that time, what I started kind of being interested in music, I started taking it seriously. I started enjoying what I could play already. And when I heard bandura, the sounds was so magic. And I told my mom that if one day we can find a teacher who can teach me, I would love to learn this instrument. So it was hard to find the instrument, and we hire a teacher who advertised as a voice teacher. So we end up taking bandura lessons, and then I start my professional career a few years later at age of 15. Yeah, at age of 15, I chose to become a bandura player, like going to a college and a music academy. So bandura sounds so different than harp or harpsichord or piano. It has some magic sound, and I was listening and saying, no, I think it reflects my soul. And it does. As always, I would say, piano, I love piano. I play anything you want, even Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff and Shostakovich. But bandura is something special for me. I cannot say it just because it represents my country. Yes, and now, yes, I feel honored that I play bandura and I live here in the United States, and I can bring this beauty of Ukrainian art to Americans. But no, it's not only that. It's the beauty of the sound and make you being different than other musicians. I don't know. I just love it. I love it. People say, like there's angels who lives in heaven and play harp. So bandura sounds like that.
Yes, I agree. It has a lovely ethereal sound. And yet I've also heard it sound both earthy and earthly too. Can you tell us more about the instrument itself and the one that you play?
In Ukraine, we have actually three types of bandura. One of them is like old kobza, and a lot of men are playing. They're smaller, has a different way how they playing like this because it's smaller. Then we have Lvov, a city, Lvov bandura. It's a little bit different. I don't think I will be comfortable to play because the strings are kind of placed differently. And I have Chernihiv bandura. My bandura is concert bandura. It has more strings, and was made upon the request when I was a student in music academy. And now it's even differently, because a few months ago we requested one guitar string company. They invented some unusual strings for my bandura, and it sounds so beautiful. So beautiful. I think a lot of bandura players in Ukraine would be happy to have, they dream to have strings like this. And it's happened just a few months before me being invited to Grammy stage. So I was very happy that I had very beautiful, bright and beautiful sound. The strings are just amazing.
So I want to switch tracks for a moment because you mentioned earlier that you're an operatic mezzo-soprano, and I've heard you sing, and I have to say that the first time I heard you, I was so surprised because here you are, you look very sweet and delicate, and then you open your mouth and this gorgeous, huge, powerful, rich mezzo comes out. I was shocked. I'd like to play a little clip here so people can hear what I'm talking about. Just beautiful. So how did classical singing become part of your musical repertoire?
I started singing very late, at age of 19 years old. Because I was playing bandura, and it's tradition not only to play, but also to play and sing together. And also I end up liking playing not only Haydn and Bach and Mozart arrangements for bandura, but also were interested, kind of sing classical songs, but I could not. I had no skills. I was so tie all my muscles, so I could not release my natural voice. And I thought that I don't have voice. And one of my friends, when I was a student in music academy, he was playing in an opera house, Odessa State Opera House. And he's like, friend of mine, he's a professional singer. Maybe you just need a few lessons. He will tell you how to relax your muscles and maybe you can sing. I said, okay, if a couple lessons, that sounds good. So we end up for 6 years, 5 hours every day in a ballet class in the underground, so nobody could hear me, because it was hard process for me to find my natural voice and build the instrument. So, and I fell in love because he was inviting me to see the best productions in Odessa Opera House, one of the beautiful, beautiful opera buildings in Europe, I can say. Built and designed by Italian best masters, architects. So just presence, in that venue was so significant, and I could see the best productions sitting and looking, and it was like, sometimes I had to go through the stage, and sometimes I was stopping. I was like, oh, I love it. I love the feeling here. I want to be an opera singer, and I became an opera singer. And I'm learning in Italy and in America. So I am grateful for my international opera experience, even I started late.
So even though you started late, it would be really fun to hear about your years growing up in Odessa and Ukraine. Care to share?
In my childhood, my mom made a decision that I have to be a ballerina and I have to be a musician. And also on top of that, I have to be a gymnast. I had no free time and I hate doing everything. Ballet, gymnastics, and music was not my favorite on the list. I was happy when at the age of 6, my piano cracked. And I was like, oh, thanks God, done with that piano. My mom, she didn't think too long. She found another one. Oh. And I would say that was until of age of 10. There's 6 years of nightmare for teachers who didn't like lessons with me, and I didn't like lessons with them. I didn't like to practice at home. I started writing my music at age of 10. Yes, I like that, because instead of learning etudes and exercise, I could just improvise. And one night I was practicing, was waiting for my teacher in school, music school. There was old gentleman. He is very honorable composer, Ukrainian composer. And he's like, stop, knocked on the door. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what are you playing? It sounds so lovely. And I thought he is just a security guy at school. And I didn't know who was he. And I was like, oh, I'm just, I have to wait for my teacher and she's coming late. So I am just playing whatever comes in my mind. He's like, oh, it sounds beautiful. So he met my mom and say, I would love to teach her. She sounds talented to me. I was like, which I'm not. So I started taking lessons with him, and I started participating at the age of 10 years old at my first composers competitions. And I end up graduating as a composer as well, my master's degree as a composer, which I was a little bit different. I didn't like very traditional composer school. I like to write music, as they say, music for movies, so.
So I'm going to switch tracks again, this time a little more serious, because obviously this is a horrific time in Ukraine. And yet we keep hearing stories about music and how it's helping people get through. Like the little girl who was singing Let It Go in the train station, and the soldier who was playing the national anthem on his violin in the barracks, and the cellist who was playing in the bomb shelter in eastern Ukraine. All of these things seem to be helping people to get through and maintain that little spark of joy and life. We even saw it during COVID when people were spontaneously singing and playing music with their neighbors in the early days of the lockdowns. So clearly art does have a place in helping people survive such things. But I think that art, pure art, can not only help people survive, but help them to thrive when everything else seems lost. What do you think?
I truly believe that art brings big message. We artists, musicians, dancers, architects, and everyone who is in art can do a lot. I think that Grammy's performance that producers decide to dedicate to Ukraine touch many hearts. And I will tell you that something you cannot see on TV, but I had to experience when we finished performing, and I was still sitting with bandura looking, trying to cover my strings, end of the performance, and I saw thousands of people gave us standing ovations. It was not just standing ovations, it was something different. They were giving us, not only us to John Legend or Mika Newton or me, Siuzanna Iglidan, or a choir, everyone who on the stage. It was different. I think people were applauding Ukraine and the whole world, those who staying in Ukraine and those who left Ukraine and they had to escape to some different countries. There was ovations for the spirit of Ukrainian people, for their strong will. And I was not only touched, no, that's not something I would say. I was honored that in my presentation on stage, I could show who are Ukrainian, This is me. I am representing my people. I am here. Maybe I was lucky to be on this day. Maybe I was lucky to start my career living in the United States. But this is me. I am Ukrainian, and my heart is breaking at this moment because I know you support my people, you support my country, and there's a special feeling. This is what my message is. Not only create the proudness of Ukrainian sound of bandura or my performing skills, I want to touch hearts. If I can touch hearts, it's mean my mission is accomplished as I'm truly being a musician.
Well said, Siuzanna. Well, we are coming to the end of our time together. Any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I always say it's not enough to know how to make, how to play instrument. It's not enough. But if you know how to make art of the sound, then you're a musician. You need to know how to make magic.
Magic. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Siuzanna, for spending some time. It's always fun chatting with you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to talk to you and share a little bit of my life story.